Hi guys, this is Nunu and I'm here in this assignment, Essay Discussion Quiz 1, Chapter 5 of this little book and Plato's Allegory of the Cave from Book 7 of the Republic, worth 60 points. Okay, I'm here in this assignment because I've received some questions about how to develop the reading methodology. So I'm going to skip over the timeline and the overview, which you can read, and I'm going to go directly to the directions. So number 1, create a reading methodology for nonfiction. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's look at the word methodology. Methodology comes from the word method, and method means a way of doing something. Your method for working out at the gym, your method for going to school. So a methodology for reading, a reading methodology for nonfiction would be a way of reading nonfiction so that you understand what you're reading. Okay, and I'm asking you to use chapter 5 of this little book, and I'm asking you to make your reading methodology for nonfiction detailed, please. What a reader should do first, second, third when reading, and what important nonfiction terms and concepts from chapter 5 that a reader should know in order to be able to identify them in a work and therefore understand that work. Okay, so I've added on some additional notes to help you. So I'm saying here, and consider whether a reader should have questions in mind to ask any work of nonfiction before the reading process begins, such as, what does the title mean? Is the title related to the writer's rhetorical focus, which is the thesis, the overall opinion about the topic of the text, and the persuasive purpose, the writer's reason for supporting the thesis, to persuade me to think what or act how in relation to the topic of the text. So, should I be able to have these questions in mind? Should I have them in mind before I even begin the reading process? And should I have them in mind for any work of nonfiction, okay, before the reading process begins? I'm asking you that question. Okay, so in other words, are there standard questions, like the questions I asked above, right up here, the questions I asked above, that we should be prepared to ask any work of nonfiction? And are there also specific questions we should ask a work of nonfiction during the reading process, as we talk to the text, as we interact with the text, about observations we make when we read the text, such as, what does this word mean? Or why does the writer make this comparison? We make observations about what the writer is doing in the text and the written work, and we have questions that arise. So are those questions that we ask during the reading process? And if so, what are they? Okay, and I also ask you here, and are there also specific questions that we should ask a work of nonfiction after the reading process, such as, how am I being persuaded to agree with the writer's logos or reasoning in the text? Is the writer using pathos in the text, making a pathetic appeal or an emotional argument to persuade me to agree with the writer's viewpoint? So, does the writer want you to agree with the writer's viewpoint, and the writer is using pathos or emotion in the text, making a what is called a pathetic appeal, an emotional appeal? And these are all chapter 5 terms that are in chapter 5. I have one more question we could consider asking. Is the writer's ethos in the essay convincing? How the writer appeals to my sense of ethics or fairness, right and wrong behavior. So this is what I'm asking you to consider. So, should we divide the reading process into 3 parts? Standard questions that we are prepared to ask a text before we even begin reading, questions that we have about the text during the reading process, and questions we ask after we read. Okay, so I've cleared up these questions about Essay Discussion Quiz 1, I hope. How to develop a reading methodology using chapter 5 of this little book. Okay, now why are we developing this reading methodology? Well, this is in number 2 of the directions. Use your reading methodology to understand what the cave is in book 7 of Plato's Republic, and in 500 words, 2 pages, explain if the cave could be a metaphor for not only TV, movies, and the internet, but also the classroom. And if so, provide concrete examples of such classrooms, providing anecdotal information from your own life and your peers' lives in their discussion one video. So anecdotal information, you've done this already. These are stories we tell of our experiences related to different issues. Okay, and all of these links here are to Book 7 of Plato's Republic, and of course to Metaphor, what a metaphor is. Now, when you're done with all of this reading methodology and the writing of the 2 pages, I'd like you to comment on 2 of your peers' postings constructively, critiquing their reading methodologies helpfully and their 500-word writing regarding Book 7 in at least 150 words a half page. So be constructive. What is constructive? Constructive criticism is a process of offering valid and well-reasoned opinions about the work of others, usually involving both positive and negative comments in a friendly manner rather than an oppositional one. So we're not here to make anybody feel bad. We're trying to help people. We're giving them constructive criticism, such as maybe should you consider dividing the reading process into 3 parts, or are there questions that maybe we ask every work of nonfiction? So constructive criticism, okay? So I'm going back into our assignment. I'm scrolling up to the top of the page. I've given you these notes for Essay Discussion Quiz 1, Chapter 5 of this little book, and Plato's Allegory of the Cave from Book 7 of the Republic, and I hope they've been helpful, these notes I've given you. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm here in inbox, all right? Have a good day.